Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Mike Francis podcast, part of the Bet Rivers Network. We join you on this early March day as we count down the days to a whole bunch of stuff. The opening of the NFL season, free agency, which is right around the corner, the Big East tournament, which is right around the corner, the NCAA tournament, which is just now days away. And baseball, right now, it's kind of dead in camps because of the Baseball Classic, which has so many players out of camps all over the globe, all over the place. You have that to deal with. Baseball is 3 weeks away. Before you know it, it's opening day. Hopefully, the weather's ready for it. I know it's going to be 60 in New York this weekend, so that's a positive. All right. Now, opening day will be here before you know it, and the Bet Rivers is helping you get back into box score watching with the spring training bonus bet. Bettors in New York and New Jersey can get a $10 bonus bet to use on spring training games when they enter the code Francesa226 in their Bet Rivers app. That code again is Francesa226. And it's available to Bet Rivers bettors in New York and New Jersey. Offer ends on March 14th. Must be 21 or older. Eligible players only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York. Now, before I get to the emails today, and that's what we're going to do, and remember, you can send your emails to mikefrancesapodcast@gmail.com. One thing really grabbed me, and that was the comments I saw from Giants general manager Joe Schoen. If there's ever a guy trying too hard, who's going to be hoisted on his own words, hung on his own words, if he doesn't watch it, it's Shane. I mean, listen, he's still there. He survived. He amazingly survived. And now this week he got hit with a ton of bricks because the player report came out and he was the only general manager to get as low a grade as he got. He got the lowest grade in the entire league, which was an embarrassment. There's no way around it. And another thing he had to deal with, and his record's an embarrassment. So he has a lot of explaining to do, but then he makes comments for no reason. You don't have to explain to anybody what your job is. Why do you feel that it is necessary to explain to everybody your job description? Well, I'll tell you why. Because the Giants went out and got a head coach who doesn't answer to him anymore. He doesn't answer to the general manager, which Giant coaches have always done. He now answers to the owner, which is what he held out for. John Harbaugh wasn't coming to the Giants unless that was the case. We all know that, okay? That's the bottom line. We all know that to be the case. And it's not a secret. That's the way the power structure of the Giants is now set up. And then they go out and get Donna Ponte, and Donna Ponte has a big-time reputation, okay? I don't know her. I mean, I've seen her for years around and stuff, but I don't know her. But I know people who do, and I know people who've worked with her, and they say she's the real thing. They say she's good at what she does. And now he feels threatened by her, and he makes statements like, I spent so much time on the coaching thing. Well, let's be honest. Once Harbaugh left the Ravens, there was no coaching thing. It was pursuing Harbaugh. There was no list. There was no candidates. There was no choices. The owners were chasing one guy. The Maras were chasing one guy to get the job. That's it. There was no list. There was no input from Shane. Everyone in the world knew they were going after Harbaugh. That just looks ridiculous. And then when you talked about, we had to put together a staff. Hey, this is his staff. This is John Harbaugh. This is a superstar coach. You're a flunky GM, was lucky to have a job. Okay, maybe you can salvage that career. Maybe you can. But you know what? You can't compare to what John Harbaugh has done. You can't win that fight. And to talk about, I'm the leader of the football operation. No, you're not. John Harbaugh is going to get whatever he wants. He's going to get any free agent he wants. He's going to get any player in the draft he wants and just live with that. Just don't make any statements. Yes, you're the general manager. Fine. But you don't have the power that general managers with the Giants used to have. Live with it. Own it. You decided to stay. You could have quit. You know the coach doesn't answer to you. You know that Aponte doesn't answer to you; she answers to Harbaugh. So the bottom line is, you've been cut out of a lot of things. Fine, do your job. Try to build a winner, and then you can go get a job somewhere else if you don't like working with Harbaugh. And you're working for Harbaugh now. That's the bottom line. This is John Harbaugh's football operation. This is John Harbaugh's team. It is his franchise. He now runs it, except for ownership. He only answers to ownership. And his words are not only defensive, they're comical. They're going to kill him. He's going to get himself booted out of here if he keeps it up. It's just silly. Be quiet and do your job and try and hook into a winner after all the bad decisions you've made through the years, and you're lucky you have a job. With your record, you shouldn't. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I've never seen anybody try to tell you how he's still in charge when he's not. It's just, it's comical. It's actually funny. It really is. It's really sad is what it is. And you know what? He needs to just let it go. Let it go. Now, let's get to the emails, okay? Let me get to the emails here. Here we go. All right. Again, Mike Francesa podcast at gmail.com. Jason, Tim Duncan mostly played before my time, okay? But I recently looked at his resume and I was blown away by the numbers and the consistent winning. Tim Duncan, who's an all-time favorite of mine, which you might have known when you sent the email, is one of the great players of all time. He would be in my top 10. Now, he played 19 years, so you look at his lifetime stats, and they might not blow you away. Like, he didn't even average 20 points, but he played 19 years. If he had ended on a regular career, he would have been averaging 22, 23. He wound up averaging 19. It means nothing. Only 4 players have ever won over 1,100 regular season games, combined games, and he is one of the 4. Kareem, LeBron, him. Let me see. It's Jabbar. It's Jabbar, LeBron, Tim Duncan, and I believe Moses Malone is the 4th. I think it's Moses Malone. It's either Robert Parrish or Moses Malone, one or the other. Now, Tim Duncan. The way you look at guys is how many championships they win. You know how many he won. How many MVPs in the postseason did he win? You look at those. Regular season MVPs, you look at those. How many years you're in the top 5 in the MVP, you look at those. Then you look at first team All NBA. He was in first team All NBA double digits. He was first team All Defense every year. The guy is one of the great players of all time. He's a prototypical, Shaq named him the big fundamental. That's what he was. One of the great players of all time, one of the winningest players of all time. And again, the quintessential power forward. Adam, what was it like on Uncut Gems? I was only there one day. Do you stay in touch with Sandler? Maybe this is from Adam. Seriously. Hey, I had a bit role. The director, Safdie, who's going on, and now he's nominated for Academy Award this year. So congratulations to him and to Chalamet for their movie, which will be up for a bunch of Academy Awards in 2 weeks. I'll be rooting for him. I was there one day. I shot 2 scenes. I was there about 12 hours because it takes a lot of time to, you shoot a scene and then they want to reshoot it. They want to shoot it from a different direction. They want to shoot it from a different camera angle. They want to reverse the angle, want to do all those different things. So you got to do it a bunch of times. Then I had to set up another scene, but we had a meal break in between, which takes hours. And so I was there about 12, 14 hours. Adam and I did go into his trailer and watch a playoff game that day. He was great to me. Couldn't have been nicer. I spent the day with him. And I've known him because he's come on the show a lot of Super Bowls. He and his guys usually make the rounds during the Super Bowl and always come visit Dog and myself or me in later years. So I know him from that standpoint. But I don't have any relationship with him. I mean, I know him to say hello to. If we saw each other, we'd have a good laugh together, but I don't hang out with him. So I don't want to tell you that he calls me every week, because he doesn't. Safdie and I are friends, but I wouldn't say that Adam and I are close. No, but I do I do like him very much. He's been very nice to me. Todd, in a seemingly make or break year for Vientos, do you think it's wise for him to give up all those extra at bats to go play for Nicaragua and the WBC? Listen, I hate the World Baseball Classic. I think it's an intrusion. I know why baseball does it. They want to market all these leagues are so greedy. They want to market their sport and make every buck they can make. They want to sell every jersey. They want to sell every item. They want to find every fan in every nook and cranny in the world. Okay. So we all know it's all a marketing ploy. That's all it is. It's a way to build some interest into the regular season. It's a way to build some interest from a different perspective. Hey, instead of rooting for a team, folks, you're rooting for your nationality. So you're rooting for the Japanese players here, and the Italian players here, and the Dutch players here, and the Cuban players here, and obviously the American players here, and everybody goes to their respective teams. Puerto Rico, wherever, blah blah blah. The bottom line is, it takes away from developing your players, especially young ones, during the season. I would forbid pitchers, especially important ones, from going to this. I wouldn't have my pitcher blow out his arm pitching in the World Baseball Classic. You can't stop players from playing in it. That's all there is to it. I think the Mets are underrating Vientos' importance and his possibilities. He's not a finished product. He is a DH. Okay, he doesn't have a position. He is a DH, but he is a legitimate power threat. I've been at the games and watched him turn around really good pitchers. I was there when he hit 2 home runs off Cole. Okay, the guy is got a lot of power at all fields. He can hit anything out of the ballpark. And even last year, in the limited time he got, and he never got going, and he was down on himself and everything else, he still put up decent power numbers. 2 years ago, he was incredible in the postseason, and he hit a bunch of home runs. I think he's got a lot to give to this team if they will give him a full chance at the DH. I don't know if they will, but I think they're making a mistake if they don't. Doug, call me crazy, but a rotation of Cole and Frieden Rodon and Schlittler and Gill and Heel, excuse me, not Gill. What's wrong with me? And Heel may be the best 1 through 5 in baseball. No, it could be. If Cole's 100%, if Schlittler steps up and becomes the pitcher we saw him be last year in the postseason, they could be listen, the Yankees could have as good a rotation. And remember, they don't need 5 in the postseason. They're going to make the postseason. They don't need 5 in the postseason. What they need this year is 2 things. They're going to get, he's going to give them what they need. Okay. Rodon is not my favorite, but he'll be good enough. The key is whether Cole can get back to being dominant by September, October. I don't know. It's not going to be an all year thing. Whether he can, and whether Schlittler can back up his brilliance last year with consistency. Can he stay healthy? Huge problem for young pitchers. Can he show consistency? Huge problem for young pitchers. So when a pitcher shows great ability, he's got to then show you that he can be a lead dog, that he can be a ace, which means take the ball every 5th day and be consistent. That's what an ace is. An ace is a guy who takes the ball every 5th day, makes his 30 starts, because if he isn't a guy who makes all his starts, he's not an ace. He's a really good pitcher, but he's not an ace. The ace is there to take the ball. Part of that is being able to take the ball 30 plus times. In the old days, they took the ball 40 plus times. Now they take the ball 30 plus times. 32 is about maximum. Okay, take the ball and be consistent. Be consistently good. And the top guys, they do that year in and year out, and that's why they're who they are, and that's why they get paid what they get paid. So, yes, the Yankees do have a chance. The Yankees only place the Yankees have a chance to be special is in the starting rotation. Obviously, they have Judge, but they're not special in the lineup. And they do hit a lot of home runs, but they hit most of them against bad teams. See, the Yankees overpower and beat up on bad teams. And then, like everybody else, they struggle against really good pitching. All of a sudden, the flurry of home runs isn't there. They're not hitting 4 and 5 out of the park like they do on a Saturday afternoon against a bad team, where they're hitting 5 and 6 home runs. The Yankees are the masters of just, hitting 6 and 7 home runs against a bad team. I mean, we know that. We've seen it a million times. That's why the numbers are what they are. But we know they can beat bad teams. They got to prove they can beat good teams. And they're going to beat good teams with top pitching. And they have the ability to have great starting pitching. Not good, but great. Will they do that? Remains to be seen. Really remains to be seen. It's very hard predicting rotations, predicting the health of rotations has become virtually impossible. The amount of innings lost to injury with pitchers is so outrageous. It is one of the biggest costs that major league teams have. It is one of the biggest problems that major league teams have. You look it up and you say, hey, I have 162 times 9. Okay, I'm going to throw in a couple extra innings, but I got 162 times 9. I got to fill all those innings. That's the first thing you think about. How can I fill all those innings? It's not an easy thing to do. And to fill them with consistency, to fill them with quality, that separates the men from the boys. Alan, will Dan Reeves and Marty Schottenheimer ever receive their due and be elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Probably not. Dan Reeves is the interesting one more than Marty. Marty was a really good coach who was just not very good in the postseason for a variety of reasons, but not very good. But he won a lot. He just didn't win a lot in the postseason. Dan was different because Dan was a player on a great team. He was an assistant on great teams. And then he took multiple teams to the Super Bowl and lost. He was a very, very good coach. He's a guy that I'd let coach my team any day of the week. He's a really good coach. He got unlucky a couple times. Certain things happened. He got some teams there that also didn't deserve to get there and got there when they shouldn't have got there, and they really were overmatched when they got there. They had overachieved in the playoffs. And, sometimes you pay for that. Sometimes you upset somebody in the playoffs, and that leads to an embarrassing loss because you really weren't that good and you got past somebody you shouldn't have gotten past. Maybe a coach maybe came up with a wrinkle. Maybe somebody had a great day. The bottom line is that happened with him. And he got to some games where he didn't have a chance. And it kind of tarnished him and tarnished Elway too. Bill, with the situation with Tisch and the health concerns with Mr. Mara, would you see could you see a change in Giant ownership? I wouldn't say no, because the money is they got. First of all, the Maras have owned the team since in their family since the 1920s. They bought the team for $2,500. Okay, they sold half of it to the Tisches in 1990. The Tim Mara side of the family, his mother and Tim sold half the team to the Tisches. Tisches have been very good owners with the Giants. Now we know that Tisch is in this complete Epstein mess, and they've run and hid from it so far, which they're not going to be able to do forever. they're not going to be able to do forever. That's not over with yet. And I think the people who think that it's going to go away now because of the war or anything else, I don't think it's going away. I don't believe that. I don't think it's going away. I think enough people are annoyed about it that it's not going away. So I think the Giants will eventually have to, and Tisch will have to eventually own up to it in some way. Now, does that make the Tisch family get out of the Giants? I don't know that because there are a lot of the Tisches. So Steve could step away and they could still own the team. Now, with the Mara family, they're not wealthy like the Tisch family is wealthy. Their business is football. Someday, the family might decide that, hey, this is like crazy riches. Let's take it and get on with our lives. If they decide to do that, God bless them. If they decide to take, they own 45. Now, remember, they just sold 10% of the team for $900 million. So that puts the team at $9 billion. Now, they own 45% of the team. So do the Tisches. That 45% is worth somewhere around, $4.5 billion. Or let's say they each now have $4 billion or a little more than $4 billion with, interest, a little more than $4 billion left in it. It's a lot of money. So either side could decide they've had enough. I would doubt it on the Tisch side. I would not say no on the Mara side, but I would say not tomorrow. Maybe in the future, maybe. Who knows? I could see anybody cashing in on these kind of situations. I do think it is possible to see people cashing in on these kind of situations. See, I am of the belief that the NFL, in the time I've been around it, the 40 plus years, 45 years that I've been around it, has changed incredibly. It's become big business. Sports has become big business. It's no longer a mom and pop shop. It used to be a mom and pop shop. It's not a mom and pop shop. Now these teams don't even know all the people they employ. They have so many employees. They now have hundreds, literally hundreds upon hundreds of employees. If you look at what the Giants have now, forget all the other parts of the business now, where they employ hundreds of people on the business side. You have on the football side now, I use the Giants as an example. They have 23 head coaches. They have an analytic group that is set up to allow coaches to come out of it. They go from there to quality control, then to position coaches. So that's actually a program that they have, and they put young guys in that, young people in that. I shouldn't say young guys now, young people in that. Their strength group, which used to be one guy, is now 7 or 8 people. Their training staff is now countless people. All these departments are now countless people where there used to be one person. I mean, in the old days, you knew every full-time employee that the team had. You might not know every scout, but you knew every full-time employee. Now they have all these teams in any sport. They have countless people in all kinds of departments. And I'm talking about just the operation. You have really separation now in these sports where you have an football operations side, and then you have a business side. They're completely separate, even now run by separate people. These are big businesses. And the day of having owners like we have now is going to end. There'll be a couple of really rich guys who buy teams. Most of them will come out of the same place that Tepper came out of, or Steve Cohen came out of. They'll come out of Wall Street. They'll come out of hedge funds. They'll come out of places where they made billions, and they'll buy their way into fame because no one knows who they are when they No one knows who they are when they're on Wall Street. A couple of Wall Street guys know them. They might know them on CNBC, but they don't know them anywhere. Now you own an NFL team, everybody knows you. Now you own the Mets, everybody knows you. It's a way to get famous. Now, a lot of people like that. But most of the ownership we're going to see in professional sports, especially in the NFL, where the franchises are astronomically priced, most of them now are going to be financial concerns that are going to own. You're going to see more teams that are public companies. You might get to a point where half of them are public companies. But even with private equity, you're going to be talking about firms being, and now you see people buying up 10% of these teams and putting millions of dollars, sometimes more than 10% in. And these guys who are, they're venture capitalists and they're people who invest in companies and they're buying up parts of the teams now. The day of the Wellington Maras and the George Hallises and the Art Modells, the Al Davis, well, forget Al Davis. Al Davis was a very different situation. He never really, he scrapped the team together. He bought and pieced his team together and ran partners. He was a little different. He was a bit of a pirate, but he was a brilliant football guy. But he was when it came to business, he was a pirate. But the bottom line is, even the days of the Jerry Jones, the celebrity owner, the George Steinbrenner, those are going to be things of the past. Except when a guy comes in and he's made billions upon billions like a Cohen has. And then he can come in and buy a team and can be he can sit and have a press conference and decide, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Now, he's not running the franchise. And he's letting a baseball man run the franchise, which he's smart to do. And that's what he's doing. We'll see if he's hired the right baseball guy or not. And that'll be proof in the pudding. But the bottom line is the business of sports has gotten so pronounced and so big now, and the franchises have gotten so valuable and so big now that sports has changed radically. Franchise ownership has changed radically. The way the league is run has changed radically. And that will continue to happen in every sport, more so in the NFL because the money is so enormous. The NFL has left the other sports so far behind that it's not even worth discussing anymore. I mean, it's the NFL and then it's everybody else. Not even close. And if you see, a lot of these people are owning multiple teams now. You see a lot of people buying up soccer teams and everything else and getting involved in different things. So these are going to be conglomerates, and they're going to be multinational companies that are going to own these teams, and there'll be a lot of Wall Street equity people that have big stakes in these teams too. And that's going to change it immeasurably. We'll see you later.